Good morning guys, I was recently in the North Pennines and I went to find a waterfall walk, but it was so busy that I couldn't get parked. So I continued along the road thinking that was it, I just wasn't going to get to see the waterfalls, and found a little lay-by, so pulled in, and lo and behold there was a public footpath on the other side of the road. So I just followed my instincts, went on the footpath into the woods, and I was not disappointed.
I've currently got a bird flying circles around me going chirp 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 chirp. That's a clear sign that there's probably a nest nearby. I get the warning, it's alright. I'm not after your eggs. That does not look particularly promising for swimming. Might be a bit of a walk. I feel so bad, there's so many ducks along this walk and they're just chilling in the sun, and a lot of them have got ducklings. And anyway, I'm walking through the field here and there's obviously a mama with its babies. So the mum had obviously clocked me. The ducklings went one way and she went the other, but she was like flapping and running through the grass, acting injured basically. So I'm pretty sure she was actually just sacrificing herself. If I was a predator, I would have chased her, left the ducklings get off, and then once they were clear, she just flew off. Because for a small moment I did think she was actually injured. Clever girl. When I say trust your instincts don't know how far. That's the only thing. That last swimming spot might have been absolutely fine. My instincts might be saying, yeah, but there's a great one just 6 miles up the way. There comes a time where you have to say, it might be too far, and turn around. Well, I ain't turning yet. Not really sure why all these rams are approaching me. Are you friendly? I hope you're friendly. I really hope they're friendly. They look like nice guys. This could be a swimming spot. This is it. See, when you're walking about, if you find these, it means it's a great spot to swim. I'm being sarcastic, don't skip the video now, for God's sake. That is the concerning one. That pool over there could be okay. So I'm actually on the bridge right now, and you can see it's really shallow there, but you can imagine how much pace it picks up there. And there's also some strange ripples on the surface over here. And the water comes in quickly and then it just stops. Now on the other side, it seems lovely and slow, but watch the pace that the bubbles suddenly accelerate. So if you don't pay attention for just a moment and get caught into this middle, you're going to have to swim against it quite well. To me, this isn't the spot. It's a really nice place, nice wee beach, but I'm going to carry on. I'm looking for somewhere where the river narrows and it isn't going very quick. I have already walked quite a distance. Couldn't tell you how far, no idea. If I get signal again, I'll maybe find out. I can hear rushing water. Again, not ideal for swimming, but let's have a look. I love how I'm not that far from home, but yet the rocks have changed so much already. As I get closer to Yorkshire, it's going to get more and more square. Safe to say, there's not really a swimming spot down there, so I'm going to carry on. Going to slow me down an awful lot. But the path is just up there on that ridge and I'm walking along these rocks. It might help me find a swimming spot, but it is definitely slower. Is this a pool? No, too shallow. That's the thing when the water is really dark. It could be really deep, but it's not. I can see the stones. Just hope I can find somewhere to get in. It's really warm. That's not a bad swimming spot there, you know. You got the waterfall that comes in, so you can see it really slows down, slowly spinning. No weird ripple effects on the top. There's nothing to suggest the water's being pulled under. There's nothing further down. Sometimes you'll get a cave that's underneath and it'll pull the water down and under, but I can't see any surfacing water. It's really quite flat and shallow there. To me that looks like a safe place. I don't know how deep it is. I can see the rocks up until then and they're just pebbles. Certainly enough to lie down in, and you know, if I got caught there, it's just a little kick of the feet and I get pulled back into here. So this might be it. I'm going to go a little bit further because there's a ridge and I just want to see what's around that corner. I can see people for the first time, so we're definitely getting near. Something worth doing when you're going to walk with no real ambition and you have no idea where you are. Make a note of the time when you leave, because if I was to guess how long I've been walking there, I don't know, 45 minutes. Well, I've checked my messages because I messaged a friend before I set off and it's been an hour and 25 minutes. Way off. It's good to remember that because I have to walk an hour and 25 back. So I need to keep an eye on sundown, hunger levels, how much water I have left, all that kind of crap. We just climbed the big rock. It's got a good view. What do you reckon, jump spot? It's a good distance that. You'd have to clear some rocks. Look at the pace that's got. It might not seem like much, but when you're swimming in it, it is. It's not even slow at the edges here, so there'll be no swimming happening there. There is a perfect spot just through there, but there's a family, so I best not disturb them. I decided to sit and have just a little rest. And here next to me is a mint. So how do I know it's a mint? Well, for one, it looks like a mint, but the big telltale is in its stem. The entire mint family has square stems. See how when I rotate it, it does it in 90-degree turns. There's an awful lot of mint, and just looking at it, I can't tell you what that is. So the next step is the smell test. So just scrunch the leaves up. So it's not a massively strong minty smell. So I can immediately rule out peppermint and spearmint. It does, however, smell slightly minty. So the next step is the taste test. That is absolutely rank. Really bitter and horrible. A little bit minty. And that's the case with quite a lot of wild mints actually. But it's worth testing because I absolutely love peppermint and spearmint. My god, you'd have to have a run up and get some serious distance. Bit sketchy. So I've made it to low force. High force is obviously much further up. But this is the lower set of waterfalls to view now. Also, folk are jumping off the bridge here, which is interesting. You'd see how high it is. It is heaving up here. It's something I'm going to have to get used to. I'm part of the foot traffic, so I can't complain about it. It'd be very hypocritical of me. But nonetheless, I've come from Scotland and I'm used to having places very much to myself. And I could probably count 50 people around the waterfall. But I've walked up from the waterfall just a bit and I think I've found myself a private little pool. It's like a big bath and I'm just going to get in it. I'd love to get near the waterfall, and honestly it's probably one of the first things that I've sort of recognised as, now that I'm doing this on my own, things are different. Because I have a bag full of camera gear, and to leave it and jump in and then swim all the way down to the place where you get back out, I can only do in a certain amount of time. If someone fancied just grabbing my bag and running, I wouldn't stand a chance to get it back. I might be just being overly cautious, but I feel like it's better to be than to lose all my camera gear. Anyway, enough blabbering this, get in the water because I'm sweating and I need to get back because it's been a hefty walk. I've done the lower set of falls, and when I was driving past them and couldn't find parking, it felt like a 20-minute drive to where I parked in the end. So that means I've done quite a walk, and I've obviously only done half of it. There she is, my wee pool, all to myself. This is actually really quite warm. I'm just going to bathe in here for a little bit, and then I'm going to start walking back. It's 2 hours to get back to the van. I'm already pretty hungry. Of course, now I've had a swim, there's nobody here where there's a great jumping spot. In fact, people would jump off this bridge, but I don't know, like, I mean, if you're local, fair enough. You might know how deep it is under that bridge. I haven't got a clue. Could be rocks anywhere because the water's just black. Realistically, I have no idea.
So that was the low force waterfalls. There is also high force waterfalls, but that was another 1.5 miles from where I was, so that would have added 3 miles to my walk, and I was already pretty exhausted. But if you're in the area, it's definitely worth checking out the high force as well, because on Google Images it looks awesome.
Wow, the smell of the bluebells. This part where this family was is clear now as well. Oh, I totally should have swam here. My pond. I'm going to call it my pond now. I called it my bath earlier. But my pond does not compare to this. The temptation just to get in again is pretty high right now. But I have a long way to walk and I'm pretty hungry. I'll just nip up in the morning. It's only a wee walk. Fuck that. Tell you what, I wish I had my headphones, because this walk back isn't going to be easy with the earworm that I have. As I was walking, I was thinking about how much I hate eels. There's not many things I hate, especially natural things, but for some reason, eels. No. Anyway, so I was thinking of the moray eel. Because of moray, I started thinking, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, it's a moray. And it's in my head, very deeply. And I'm very sorry if I've just put it in yours. But I'm going to be singing that on this entire walk back. So, pray for me. I think I've just seen a cave. There's only one way to find out. Now, not only is this swampy, but It'll also be private land. I'm not in Scotland anymore. I don't think I'll ever get used to that. Well, I'll have to, because I'll end up getting in trouble. It is a cave. It is a cave. I cannot see the back of that. Has anybody else seen the Descent movies? Do you think that's the way in? I imagine that water right there is spring water. It's coming from underground. I won't be drinking it, but I'm tempted. I'll take a photo with my flash. See how far back we can see. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. Eel. When the moon hits you. I think I might actually go insane before I get back to the van. You know, I've seen so much to forage, but I don't know what I'm having for dinner. But I don't want to just go aimlessly picking stuff that I'm not going to eat, because I hate that. Especially with mushrooms, when they gather tons and tons of mushrooms just for a photograph. They lay them out on the forest floor, take a photo in a pretty pattern, and then just fuck it all off. Well, I won't be doing that. There was a fair amount of salad greens and wild garlic near the van, so I reckon that's what I'll do, is I'll wait until I'm closer and I'll pick that stuff. I'll probably have garlicky, buttery potatoes, or salad, and something else. I don't know. We'll see when we get there, eventually. I'm absolutely powering on, but I've just stopped to forage some red clovers. Oops. Because I didn't see any anywhere else on the walk, and they'll go nicely in my salad. This is garlic mustard, and I also haven't seen it anywhere else, so I'm actually going to take some of these leaves, maybe the flowers. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but for a small amount in a salad, it'll do nicely. It is only these 2 plants, so I'm only going to take a very small amount. We're getting there. I'm in the little woodland that's just down from the van, which really means I'm only 10 minutes away. That walk back took me a hell of a lot less time. I've been hammering it. I really didn't want it to take 2 hours. I should have known that it wouldn't, because I wouldn't be stopping and filming as much, and I wasn't looking for swimming spots, etc. But I could have went a little bit slower, but it's fine. Look at all this wild garlic. It's crazy. The smell is so strong in the air. Definitely making some garlic potatoes tonight. I actually just picked up some yarrow. There's too much. There's too much going on in the hedgerows right now to show you guys. I want to do videos on all these herbs and these plants, but I haven't got the time to do them all. And then a lot of them are going to start seeding and dying as we change into summer. It's hard to figure out what is important to cover, what you guys want to see. So I'm well open for suggestions. If there's a plant you want to know more about, or herb, or anything I cover in this video, because I'm about to show you some more herbs that I happen to pick along the way, then drop it in the comments and I'll see what I can do. What a forget-me-nots. Not edible, but beautiful. It's the last climb up to the van. And there he is. Thank fuck for that. I'm glad to see you, mister. Yup. I've been back all of 3 minutes, but it is time to forage. Let's go find some dinner. That's a shame. That plant there is called silverweed. Got medicinal properties, but it is right on the verge of a very busy road. So that's a no. Anyway, back into the woods. I think I've just found the biggest dandelion I've ever seen. Look at the neck of that. Are you joking? I can tell you one thing, that is going to be bitter as hell. Look at the size of this thing. The temptation to pull that guy up and see how big of a root he's got is huge right now. But I'm going to leave him be. Most of his pods haven't opened and he hasn't seeded. Not that we have a shortage of dandelions. Right, there's cleavers and there's nettles already, but they are right on the edge of this path. And this path is relatively well trodden, so I'm going to go further into the woodland and then cut off of the path to find my food. Well, I'm going to get stuck straight in with the wild garlic. Now, I'm picking in this shaded area because the leaves are going to be a little bit smaller, and that typically means tastier. Whereas over here, you're able to get more sun and then much bigger plants. Also, as a result of these guys being in the shade, some of them haven't even started flowering yet. So it does mean that these are younger plants, which is a good thing. These are going to be tastier. So I'm going to collect some leaves about that size, a couple of these flower heads, maybe a couple of these buds as well. And no, you don't need gloves to collect wild garlic. But I'm going to be collecting nettles in a little bit. Everything seems to be in monster mode. Look at the size of that for a wild garlic leaf. Can't imagine that's very tasty. Although there's a good amount of eating in that stem actually. Go good in a stir fry. That white bit, that tender bit, is quite delicious. There's a good patch of cleaver there and a patch of nettles. So into my little basket they go. Again, with nettles, you always want to be pinching off that top set. They're the most tender and the plant will continue to grow, so everybody wins. Quite young cleavers these actually. again, because of the shade. I'm going to grab some of these and hopefully it doesn't just stick to everything else I forage and make a mess. It does seem to be gathering dandelion seeds. It's not a massive issue because I'm going to be using cleavers to make cleaver water, but if I was eating them, they'd probably be a pain. A little bit of cowslip here, but it's not a lot. I feel a bit mean picking it, but that is edible. I believe it's the same family as the primrose, and looking at the leaf, I would say that it is. But they're not all that common, and it's really not going to add much to my salad. They're looking a little bit dry as well, so we'll leave that as it is. There's quite a lot of meadowsweet here. Later in the year it's going to put up these long white fluffy flowers, and they're incredible. They smell like honey, and they make great teas and stuff. I'm looking forward to foraging them. At the moment we've just got the leaves. You can make tea from the leaves, and there was some raspberry plants back there, so I could technically have a meadowsweet and raspberry tea. There's a good amount of ribwort plantain here. See these little flower buds? They've got the little white flowers on them. And if we find the leaves, we've got these really prominent veins on the back. Really easy to ID. Make sure, obviously, you're collecting the leaves from the right plant. These are in fact medicinal, and they really help with hay fever symptoms. So the inflammation that happens in your throat and nose and eyes and everything else, it helps combat that. So I'm going to collect some of this while there's plenty of it and dry it on my dashboard. So I'm picking plantain from this spot right here, and this is just a little safety notice. Look how these plants are growing amongst each other. You've got plantain leaf right here, right next to that, no idea. But if you pick them side by side, it's obvious that they're different. Notice the cell structure of that leaf versus plantain. Very, very different. But you could grab a plantain leaf and a corner of that, and then that could end up in your plantain. You dry it out, you're not going to see it. Who knows what that is? So it's just a reminder to always pick leaf at a time. And then when I get back to the van, I like to do it again. I kind of almost count the leaves out, like plantain, 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 making sure that everything I've got is what I want. There's no sense in foraging medicine and then poisoning yourself. Safe to say I am absolutely starving, so I'm going back to the van. I'm going to collect some more nettle on the way because I've not got as much as I'd hoped for. As I came out of the woods there was just none, so back into the woods, more nettles, because they really cook down like spinach, you know. You need 4 times as much as you think you're going to need. Can you see it? I almost picked this nettle, and I have a strong suspicion there's something gross on the other side of that. Oh, it's a daddy long legs. I thought it was going to be a spider. That's not as bad. But as I reached for that, I saw the legs last second. I was like, oh yeah, creepy little bastard. So I better run through what I found. First off, nettles. Then we got that tiny bit of garlic mustard, also known as Jack by the Hedge, wild garlic with the buds and flowers, red clover heads. Then we've got red dead nettle, which is actually part of the mint family and has that distinctive square stem. This plant actually helps relieve seasonal allergies. It's even used to treat rheumatism and cardiovascular issues. Then we've got yarrow, which has such a beautiful leaf. I'm going to try and add that to my tea collection. It's quite good at aiding digestion, and because of that it actually offers some IBS relief. It's also good for indigestion and heartburn, so yeah, good digestive aid. Then we've got plantain. Now the main reason I collect plantain is for a friend of mine who has really bad hay fever, but it does have many other uses. Quite a lot of them to do with skin. It's good for burns, good for nettle stings. Then we've got my cleaver, which I'm going to use to make cleaver water. If you saw my previous video, you'll know that all you have to do, scrunch up a bunch of that, put it in a bottle of water, leave it overnight, and then drink the water in the morning. And you'll notice that the water goes very green, which is a good sign because it means a lot of the goodness is leaching out of this in a cold infusion and doesn't need to be made into a tea. Lastly, I've got some bugleweed, and you'll notice that the leaves start very green and then the leaves start to go almost like copper as they get near the top. This plant's actually really good for women that are menstruating because if you've got heavy blood flow, it helps reduce that, and secondly, if you get painful breasts, it helps that also. But for men and women, it's good for insomnia, nervousness and hypothyroidism, if I remember right. So it's another powerful herb. I'm drying all my herbs separately, and then once I have a good collection of different herbs which I'm drying out, then I'm going to start to mix them. I'm going to pair up the different attributes to make teas that are certain remedies for certain illnesses. But anyway, there we have it. Without further ado, I'm going to make dinner. I'm too hungry to film it, so we've got wild garlic buttery tatties with the red clovers on top, and then I've got this not very appetizing looking curry, but trust me, it's delicious. It's got lentils, red cabbage, Jack by the Hedge, it's got the nettles in it, tomatoes, courgette, onion, cashew nuts, raisins, and then I didn't have any naan bread, but I do have the last 2 tatty scones from Scotland. Oh my god. But I do need to eat them because they're going to go off. Cheeky wee lemon water, and for pudding I've just got some natural yogurt with some banana and nuts and raisins. So I'm going to absolutely destroy this and go to bed because it's safe to say I am absolutely knackered.
It's been a great day. I first smashed on, but yeah, feeling it now. Dead sleepy. So I'm going to get that in my belly, and I can tell that I'm going to fall asleep very soon after that. So I've just driven an absolutely mental road, and considering second gear in my van is not good. Big Bruce did not enjoy that road whatsoever. Bit tricky. I was either revving the shit out of it in second or almost coming to a stall in third. It was always in between the two gears. Nightmare. Anyway, I've made it here safely. There's a little park up, a little bit of signal. So I'm in the Yorkshire Dales and I'm right up the north. And I'm about to go a walk to the Old Gang smelting mill. I need to start doing a little bit more research and also preparing myself a little better. Do I know how far this walk is? No. Do I have walking boots on? No. Do I have food? No. Do I have a first aid kit? No. Do I have any water? No. Did I forget my drone? Yes. What a mess. Obviously still getting into the swing of this. I just thought I can't be arsed bringing a bag and then just set off, and then realised, wait a minute, there's a reason to have a bag. Well, it's just up ahead of me, so it doesn't look like I'm going to die. Not today. Well, I wasn't expecting to forage, but there's loads of horses tail here. I'll check the place out and then I'll come back and get some. I have so many questions about this place. I don't understand how it works. Like this, for example. It's all exposed at the top, as if like a stream or river was going to run down there. So I presume water was carried down this. And then it comes to here and splits in half, and then you get these two channels that go down. One going down there, and one going down there. And this one on the left feeds through to this, which is the top of a chimney stack. And the other one feeds down, as far as I can tell, into that building here, which I'll show you at the bottom, which also has a split in it. So two channels. How this place worked, I have no idea. I guess I was counting on an information board. I'm just wandering about without a clue. Oh, it's really nice and cool. It's like a proper fresh breeze blowing through here. It's well needed after climbing that hill. It's really interesting moss just at the entrance here. It looks like a type of sphagnum moss, to be honest. I know that there are many different species of sphagnum moss. It's very soft. Now, if you watch one of my previous videos, you'll know that sphagnum moss has been used throughout wars to patch wounds because it's so absorbent. And it turns out the reason it's so absorbent is because 90% of the cells in the plant are actually dead and can absorb moisture. So they'll hold water, or in the case of the wars, they'll hold blood and act like a bandage. Anyway, I can see another building further up, so I'm going to carry on, and then back to the van, and then I need to find a park up with signal because I'm working tomorrow. Fair wish I had my water shoes for this one. I cannot see the back of that. I'm well curious. I took a night photograph, which is like a long exposure, which picks up the stars and stuff. And it did, it started picking up further along the wall. But the dark bit at the back just stayed black, which means there's no light getting down there at all. Been sat here a little while because this cool air coming through is so nice. See my breath condensing because of the difference in the temperature. Because it's coming through so cold, but yet I'm so warm. Simple things. Bloody hell. It's only stepping away from there that's made me realise how bloody warm it is today. Oh, I want to go back in there. It's lovely and cold. Unfortunately, the other buildings I've walked up to, that one and that one, I don't know what they're for. I don't suppose they have anything to do with the original buildings. I could live in that though. That's a nice size. It's got a burner in it, it's got a wee chimney. Anyway, we're going to check out this little bridge and then head on back. Although, I'll have to inspect where the water's coming from, because it's not coming down the main river. It's coming down this little side section here. Not sure what that is. Oh, the temptation to get in there. If I could, I would love to go in there. Oh my god, what's in there? I want to know. It opens up. Right, I'm going to try and get a photo without getting soaked here. And no, don't worry, there's nothing in that box. Otherwise I wouldn't have approached. Honestly,
I think the descent films were shot in Yorkshire. Like, what in the spooky hell? Let me get a photo with my flash and see if there's any people in there, any creepy faces. Whoa, we just heard a crazy sound. To be fair, it sounded like a bird's wings flapping really quickly. So I'm gonna get out of the way in case it's a bird wanting to get out. Or maybe a big bloody bat. The heat that hits you when you step away from these places must only be like 10 or 11 degrees when you sat at the entrance of that. Then you step it out, it's like 20, 21. I'd love to see what made that noise. It must have been a bird, but I'm ready to run in case something comes crawling out. I bet that water is absolutely fantastic. You can see the amount of life that it's sustaining. All these different colours and mosses and algae. I mean, look at all the algae there. You obviously wouldn't drink from it here because of the algae and stuff, but algae needs light to survive, so realistically you could probably fill your water bottle near the entrance to that cave. Anyway, back to the van. Well, I wasn't expecting to find a mushroom. He's seen better days, I can tell you that much. I mean, from what I can see, I haven't got a clue. No idea. Obviously not getting eaten. It'd probably finished sporing and I could have picked it, but it was dry as hell. I was never going to eat it, so what's the point? Sure, I might be able to ID it, but if he's got any spores left in him, might as well just let them do their thing, because that is the only mushroom I've seen up here.
So I'm working for the next 2 days and then I'm going to visit my grandma and hang out with her for a little bit. And then after that, I'm actually getting interviewed by a YouTube channel called Liberation. They do interviews of people living alternative lifestyles, whether it's in boats, tiny homes, vans. So that's going to be a brand new experience, but I imagine it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And once they've finished editing, I'll tell you guys when it's live and where to watch it. Anyway, for now, thank you so much for watching as always. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe and be kind.